Hi, so today I'm going to be talking about the stages of labor really quickly. And a lot of times I don't like to get into the kind of like more the boring stuff, but I like to keep it real practical. But I want to talk about the stages of labor because knowing the different stages can help you be aware of what's happening to your body while you're in labor. So you can know, like, okay, this might be that transition time, this might be that, active labor time, and what to do kind of in each stage, in each phase of labor, and kind of what to expect instead of just being in the dark. Because a lot of times, actually, no one's going to explain it to you if you don't take a class. Um, so let me tell you the stages of labor. So there are 3 stages of labor. Some people say 4, but there's 3 stages of labor. So there is early labor, then there's the actual laboring part. Then there's the baby is born, and then the 3rd stage is the placenta is born. And some people say like the 4th stage is like recovery or whatever. So the first stage of labor is just that you're actually laboring, the baby's not here yet, that early part. And that's broken into three phases. So there's early labor, active labor, and transition. So that first stage of labor is broken into 3 phases. So early, active, and transition. So early labor is, they kind of go by the centimeters that you are dilated. So early labor is going to be from about 0 to 5 centimeters about, and this is all like kind of relative. Everybody's different. So this is just to get an idea. It's kind of like a guide. So a lot of times you could already be dilated. Like they can check you and you're like 39 weeks and you might be 3 centimeters already, but you're like, I'm not in labor. That's very common. Like your body's already kind of doing the work, but you don't feel anything yet. And some people are just 0. They're feeling contractions, but they're still 0, like 0. So everybody's different. So this is just to get an idea of like where you're at in the process, because you need to be 10 centimeters dilated to push that baby out. Because you can't push the baby out if your cervix isn't dilated wide enough to get the head through. So you need your cervix to be wide enough. So that's that dilation. It needs to open up, and it needs to be thin enough. So they call that effacement. So it needs to be thin enough to, can't be thick. It has to be nice and able to move, so you can get the head through nice and easily. So that's what they're talking about: dilation, effacement, and all that, softening, and things like that. So, so that's that. So about 0 to 5. So in that time, sometimes you feel like you're having some contractions. It could be that early labor. That's when I say labor at home. Labor at home as long as possible in that early stage, because a lot of times hospitals, they may just send you back home if you're only 4 centimeters dilated. You're not in active labor. There's nothing really that they can do for you besides, there's nothing really that they can do for you, and they could have that bed for somebody else who's like ready to push the baby out and stuff like that. So yeah, so I always say labor at home as long as possible. Walk around, eat. This is the time to eat. This is the time to eat and also get rest. At first you're excited, you're really excited to get that labor starting. You're gonna see your baby soon, yay! But also remember, if it's nighttime, get that rest. Try to get some sleep. Or if it's getting uncomfortable and you can't sleep, then you can labor in the tub, get something to eat. But if it's nighttime, you're gonna want to get your rest, because it is gonna pick up and it's gonna get quicker, and it's gonna be more painful. It's gonna take a lot more work and energy from you. So those are just some things to remind you of. So the next phase is active labor. So active labor is like 6 to 7 centimeters about. So active labor is going to be a lot more intense. Oh, I also forgot to say that early labor, your contractions are going to be about, Could be 5 minutes apart, 10 minutes apart. It's going to be maybe sporadic, but it's going to be the time in between could be way further out than as you gets into active labor and on and on. As labor progresses, your contractions are going to get a lot closer together. So that's another thing with the labor stages. How dilated you are, how quick are your contractions, how close together. So with active labor, your contractions are going to be about 2 minutes apart to 4 minutes apart. Could be quicker, but it's going to be a lot more intense. You're going to be dilating more. It's going to be harder to talk through those contractions and those types of things. And transition is when you're getting up to that 10 centimeters, that next part, like 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 8. You're going to be getting up into that transition for when it's going to be time to push. And that's going to be that second stage of labor. Second stage of labor. So now we did that first stage with the 3 phases. Now we're in the second stage. The second stage is just pushing that baby out. Your baby's here, yay. And then the third stage is the placenta comes out, so that afterbirth. So after the baby is done, after the baby is out, you're not done. You still have to push the placenta out. So you're gonna feel another contraction, and it's not as intense. Usually you're just gonna, oh, here's another contraction, and you push with that contraction, and there's your placenta. And usually you're holding your baby at this time, and you're not really focused as much on that. And this is just general, real general stages of labor and childbirth. Everybody's different, and there's all kinds of different events that can happen with all of these different things. But that's typically the stages of labor, and of course recovery after that. So I just wanted to go over that quickly. If you have any questions, you can contact me or you can write a comment below. But yeah, okay, thanks for watching.